right? The topic is link prediction. Can be link prediction, as the name suggested, is concerning with a way we're trying to predict the links. The link that we talk about is edges that can connect between nodes in the network. But at that moment, we still do not know whether the nodes should be connected or not. That means there are plenty of unconnected links between entities in a network. If we think about social networks, that for sure, we did not know everyone. That means those are the missing links that we do not know. And by able to rank from high probability to low probability, we would be able to pick the top one, and then suggest those top one to applications, for example, and then use it like Facebook did or like LinkedIn does. Right? So we can do that here. So the topics of link prediction is concerning with this question. Suppose that we have a network that evolving in some way, that we kind of know how the network grows over time. We want to predict the next most likely link that could be formed in the network. Right? For example, think about, in this example, about account integration. Suppose we have the two accounts like Twitter accounts and Foursquare accounts. These two are from different platforms, but we want to join them to see whether they are from the same accounts, should be the same accounts or not. How do we do that? Suppose that we know that at least one of them at Linktree here. From Linktree, connect one person in Foursquare to one person in the Twitter network. And then we want to, and then in these two, this person also have a types of network structure associating with that person. So it might be possible to associate or find the link, the connection between the account using by comparing the similar structure here, right? So we should be able to find whether which link should be formed in the network based on the structure of the network, based on the co-occurrence of the links, right? And that's the problem of link prediction. All right. So once we know that, that means the problems now is simplified to just finding or ranking which link is important than which, right? And then we need to rank, we need some score. So basically, when we talk about link prediction algorithm is an algorithm that calculates score between nodes. Once you get the score between nodes, you can rank whether those links should be on top or whether it should be down in the list, right? And we will take a look at a number of examples of the link prediction algorithm here in this lecture. And also we will take a look at the implementation of that in the example that I have. I try to use the Facebook data that we used last time to do the link prediction. The problem is that the data is quite large in terms of the connectivity, in terms of the nodes. So reading and doing link prediction based on the exhaustive approach, like finding the common neighbor, is quite computational expensive and take a lot of time, even for the high performance computer here. So I decided to change the data set that we use here to the Dolphin data that we have, that we tried earlier, if you remember, on the first lecture about the network analysis. Right. So let's take a look at those algorithms. Okay. What do we use link prediction for? There are plenty of algorithms. Actually, today I have been providing an example for in the meeting before this, I talked to the company about the technique that it is possible to use in credit scoring. One of the things is that to look at the surrounding or the connection of that person to another person's, and then you can do that. So evaluating the attribute there. For applications that we already know, like Facebook, you already see that Facebook use Facebook has this mechanisms that it will suggest friends that should be connect to us, should be connect to me, right? By suggesting friendships, it has to have a way to rank who should be first, right? But if you think about the whole thing, that means there has to be sometimes some mechanisms to rank the connection of us to the remaining of the network. And they will pick like top 3 to suggest to us, right? So you can use link prediction to predict friendships. You can use link prediction for Tinder. Tinder is an app, the matching app. You can use link prediction to suggest the matches, to suggest the dating matches. Or for LinkedIn, some of you have subscribed to LinkedIn. You may have already know that LinkedIn will suggest the job for you, right? Matching between jobs and people can also be done, even though job itself is not people, right? Connection can be done, but you can see the problem here that it means that in terms of the node, it must be much more than just the people alone, right? It has to represent other things as well, like it has to represent the association between person to the job and the person to person for forming network. Same goes for this one for friendship, right? Each person might have different interests. Even though you are friends with another one, it doesn't mean that you see the post from that person. It depends on your closeness or your connection to that topic. So for Facebook, they also have this topic connection in order to pick the top post to show to you. So this is how you can apply link prediction to perform recommendation in various things. And as the name suggested, as it is itself a recommender, that means you can apply this to recommend for movies, recommend for the contents, websites, so many other things that can be done here in link prediction realm. Okay, and we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the basic algorithm for link prediction. We'll take a look at the SVD, singular value decomposition based link prediction. Although we will not go into how to solve the equation here, but we'll take a look at how the concept work, and we'll try that on the library that allow you to perform recommendation. Although again, you can implement that yourself, but since there's already tools to do that, you can just implement that using the tool. The tool itself is not graph analytics tool, it's more like recommender tools. Nevertheless, it is a form of link prediction, so we'll try that out. Okay, now let's take a look at link prediction in different aspects. All right, I'll try to go slow here so that you can catch up, because this is the work in bioscience, I would say. So this is link prediction. You can see here graph representing the interaction between the drug, protein, and various type of effect, the side effect between the drug. Right? So each drug will have its own side effect that link here, and it also linked to the protein. So the authors create a model to model the like side effect from the graph network here. That means this network, by perform graph analysis, would allow the scientists to identify a potential interaction that might occur because of certain proteins. So this is also known as graph integration, because link prediction here is trying to predict whether there is a harmful effect that are not known, because these side effects usually are known, and if they are known, you can represent as the link that is already known. But if they are not, if they are haven't been discovered yet, link prediction will allow us to identify the potential side effect and rank from the first one that need to be investigated down to the last one here. Okay, a protein interaction here can already be found in the data set. There is a database called protein interaction network, which is available since the Genome Project, I would say, and you can tap to that and then utilize that. This is the combination between like drug interaction network and protein-protein interaction network, and it's quite useful. This paper is published in Bioinformatics just 2 years ago here. You can take a look at the work at Stanford, right? Decagon here. Okay, this is the link prediction in science. There are actually plenty of them. What I pick up here is those that I am quite familiar with in the molecular biology and in the bioinformatics. Okay, this is another example of the link prediction in science. It is a study of the link between disease and genes. Okay, so here you have the connection between the genes and the phenotype. What are phenotypes? Phenotypes are the physical features that you can observe from organism. Like if you say the phenotypes of human, we have 2 legs, 2 hands, like that. Those are the phenotypes. In different organisms, they will have different things. In different disease, there will be different observations that can be made at there as well. So in square box here, they are the phenotypes that can be observed, like diabetes, the abnormal kidney physiology, decreased urine osmolality, response to salt stress. So there will be different phenotypes. And these phenotypes can be linked to the genes, right? This is the gene phenotype linkage. The gene-gene linkage, which is known in terms of the relationships. They may be work in similar way from the previous studies. And from these, link prediction will allow you to predict whether there should be a link between the phenotypes and the genes. That means this will allow researchers to identify potential genes that might have never been studied to associate with the phenotype itself. Okay. This again, if you want to know more about this, there's the link down here in the project Gene Disease from the U of Texas. Okay, it's quite interesting network integration as well. You can see that link prediction which shine very good in when you have that multiple layers of network, like the protein interaction network, and then another layer of network, and then you kind of integrate them together, and then trying to find the link between them. So this is the link between drug and protein that or the drug and drug that you may have not know before. This one is the link between the phenotype, the observation, and the genes. So it means that if you know there's the link there, and this would help researchers, it will help discovering unobserved relationship here. Okay. So this is another example of link prediction in science. Right, link prediction has been used a lot in other science as well, like this one in social science. In social science, the link prediction can be used to predict the criminal activities, that whether there is relationship between the suspect's person and a group and a cluster and of the organized crime groups. So by analyzing the criminal network, there's actually a tool here. There's a paper in 2016, and there's two online that can be link prediction can be used as a tool to do that, and you can find kind of relationship here. And I would say that it can be used to find a group that doing the transaction fraud for the company, the groups that may have connections in terms of the financial fraud for the company. So here it can be used in many things. But most of them you will see that you need to understand the formation of the network first. Once you know the formation of the network, then you'll be able to find the links in those networks, right? With certain way, right? Certain technique that might help. Okay, so the usage here in summary, you can see that they actually should be 1 and 2. I fixed that somehow. It's 1 and 1 again. Okay, the usage, right? You can use it to predict the possible future links. That means what you are trying to do is to grow the network. Right? You try to grow the network out. So in order to do that, so you are doing something that is like the preferential attachment properties that suggested last time. You are doing the same thing that people would connect if they have a chance to connect. But instead of let them just grow the network by themselves, you kind of help trying to suggest the connection. And that's the way that Facebook kind of find your old friends since middle school and then suggest them to your connection. You see that some of the algorithms here are quite simple, and it has been used for sure when you connect with your friends. Okay, so it can be used to predict possible future link, that there is a future link that should be connected, but not yet. So that's one thing. Another thing is to predict the missing link in the incomplete data. That means you have the data already, but you want to find the link that might be missing from the data. Just like the two examples that I show you in, actually the three examples. In this example, there is already a side effect, but we do not know yet in terms of study. Link prediction allow you to pick that out and use it in the study. Also, for this one, things has already happened. We want to find a missing link. This as well, we want to find the missing links. Okay, so you can use it to drive the system, create more links, like in Amazon, like in Netflix, like in Facebook. You can use link prediction to find a missing link, like in the biological network, like in the criminal networks. Okay, so these are the two major examples of the usage of link prediction. And you can see that it closely associated with the network evolution. That is, you need to understand the nature of the network. Once you understand the nature of the network, link prediction is to find that link that should be formed, but not yet to be formed or missing from the network. Okay, now that's introduction. From introduction, let's jump to the math. So if you have questions, feel free to click raise hand and ask. It should be fine. Now let's jump to the math. And then we'll jump to the code. Right? As always, shouldn't take long for today. Online class that is too long is quite boring. You might kind of open me together with Netflix, and that wouldn't make you understand. Right? Because I would lose to Netflix for sure. Okay, so the graph, right? You need to have the graph first. The graph will have a set of vertex and a set of edge. We will have the current links, the edge, E, that is the order pair X and Y, that there should be some source and destination, or the link can be no direction as well. And to form link prediction, we need to have a way to calculate the similarity score. Similarity score will be the score of connection that they should connect. If one similar to another, then they should connect. So how do we find these similarity scores? There are a number of algorithms that allow us to do so, okay? But before that, just like in machine learning, in normal machine learning, we need to have the training set and a test set, okay? For mostly when we talk about network and the link prediction, the training set itself would be the existing link, while the testing set would also be the existing link, right? The existing link, but you kind of sampling it out. And there will be another set, the link that you want to predict, and that cannot be used to validate. Okay, for example, if I were to draw here, suppose we have the network like this one. Like this. So here we would have the, and then we kind of sampling it. We might have this one to be used as the training set, and this to be used as test set. Test set. Right. So now we have to split data to training set and the test set. Then we kind of choose the link prediction algorithm, run the algorithm on the training set, evaluate whether they can predict the test set or not. It should not be kind of like half and half like that. It should be randomly selected. Okay, and that would mean that it should spread throughout the network. Then check the accuracy, find the best algorithm they should use. That's the way to do it. Okay, but in the actual usage, your use would not be you would not want to predict this link, but instead what you want to predict would be, is there a link between this or this or this or this? So you want to predict the unknown link between the nodes. I cannot draw them all here because I draw too many nodes here. But you get the idea, right? So by splitting the data into training set and the test set, you want to evaluate the algorithm whether it is good or not. Once you know that the algorithm is good, then you can apply them to unlinked connections, right, to the links that have not been there yet, and then we will have the link, the set of two nodes that should be linked together. All right. Let's move on then. So any question before we go to the so this slide, and then let's focus on the question. Okay, so now we have the data D, data E. The data itself here is the edges, right? We can split the edges into the train edges and the test edges. And that will be like the total number of possible edges, which come from the number of node multiply the number of node minus 1, right? And you know that this is like n choose 2, right? N choose 2 give you the all possible edges here. And from that, what we want to do is to make, we want to rank the unlinked edges L here, so that we have, then EL here would be a subset, it would be an element of U minus E train. Actually, it should be U minus E, right? Should be appear in the descending order. Okay, let me, it's U minus E train because we use E train for training. But once the test is done, then you can just combine them together and then use the whole thing here, because this is like whole out, right? As in the earlier lectures, you know that this is whole out technique. Whole out technique split data into train and test. But once you test the algorithm and you know that it works, you can just combine them into E and then train the whole thing to E, and then use E to for prediction. Or in this case, you can use U minus E train, but EL will contain E test as well, and you need to exclude that later on, right? So that's the idea, and the accuracy for the technique itself will be so there are different measurements. If we talk about link prediction, mostly the evaluation technique would be to take a look at the precision of the top link. But if we talk about recommender system, then it would be the rank, the score, the estimation score. We actually did take a look at that in the topic modeling class, I think, SVD technique. And then we kind of look at that again. Right? Before we begin in the algorithm part, any questions about the usage of the link prediction and author in the bigger scope first? If you have question or you want to have discussion about this, let's make it so here.